All right, the Steelers have a lot of decisions to make, and free agency begins in about 10 days. And I'm going to jump right into this with a name that keeps coming up, Aaron Rodgers, only because he seems to love the attention that he brings upon himself, and he's letting people dangle. He hasn't said all that much, but according to some reporting in Denver, it looks like they're willing to offer their 9th pick overall this year. That's a first round next year and a second round this year. Plus, he wants $50 million a year, according to some reports. Andrew, I think I know how you feel on this, so I'm going to come to you later. I'm going to go to Mark first. I want to hear his reaction to that and whether or not the Steelers actually have a chance of doing this.
Well, if it's the trade you laid out there with Denver, it would be probably the worst decision in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers franchise, to be honest with you. You cannot give that up with that money in this type of an environment where you can build a team with the money you have and the draft choices you have for a guy that might win you 9 or 10 games with a team that's still pretty far away probably from winning a title. And next year he just might quit. I mean, okay, if you get him for the $26 million this year and a third-round pick, okay, that's a different story. But right now, that is not the direction this organization needs to go into right now, a one-year type of guy. If you had a better offensive line, if you had more of a stable defensive line, if you had better receivers, maybe. You brought the whole Matt Canada regime back. Now you're asking him to change that whole entire offense with Aaron Rodgers. It's just a disaster in the making unless they get him for extremely cheap, which that's not going to happen.
Tony?
Well, there's a lot I want to address. Can I just ask Mark a question first? So you think their win total with Aaron Rodgers is the same as Big Ben, the MVP and a 38-year-old quarterback? You said 9 wins.
Well, what
you don't see any difference?
If we're winning one or two, you're lucky. I mean, be honest with you,
but you don't
changing your entire offensive around.
They're the same.
Now.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying you think that Ben is worth 9 wins, and you think Aaron Rodgers is the same?
Maybe Ben wasn't worth 9 wins last year. Maybe they were fortunate to get 9 wins last year. You can look at it anyway, right?
Okay, that surprised me that you had them as a 9-win team next year with an MVP. I think Cam Hayward would probably fight you on that, Mark, based on what he told NFL Network this week. Look, the thing that we need to talk about here is, does Aaron Rodgers want to play for the Steelers? And if that is his choice, if he says, I want to play in Pittsburgh, what happens then? I mean, does Green Bay either grant that wish, or does he retire, or does he stay in Green Bay and pout for the year? I mean, if it really is, I'm giving you 3 teams, whoever pays the best price is who you trade me to, okay, the Steelers are not going to win that, as Mark pointed out. But how much power does Aaron Rodgers have? If he says, I want to play in Pittsburgh because I like Mike Tomlin and I like the tradition of that team, what happens then? And I think that's what this report was trying to allude to, this Pro Football Talk thing. What if Aaron Rodgers, for whatever reason, he's a crazy dude. He had a 12-day cleanse, for crying out loud. What if he has it in his head that he wants to play for the Steelers
Well, it takes
next year,
two to
Bob?
tango. It takes 2 to tango. The Steelers have to say, okay, fine, but we're not going to pay you $50 million, and we're not going to give you all of what it would require. I think
But we don't even know what it's required to trade for him. We don't even know what the trade price is yet.
If you're Green Bay and you want to give him away for nothing, I think that's a colossal mistake because to me,
I don't think that's going to happen,
point.
but maybe they're going to have to find a compromise because Aaron Rodgers won't play in Green Bay next year.
But if he wants $50
and he
million,
won't play for anybody
he ain't
but
coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't see
well,
that
how
happening.
do you know he wants $50 million? Who said that? Because McAfee disputes that, and McAfee talks to the guy once a week,
I know
Bob.
that, but I hear reports, I see reports. I don't know if they're accurate or not, but they're out there by people with blue check marks. Josh, what do you think about this? Is it likely to happen? Or if the Steelers want it to happen, what will it take?
I don't think it's likely. The sports writer in me would love it. It would be wonderful.
It would be fun to see. There's no question.
Yeah, it would. Here's my problem, Bob. It's not even the draft picks that it would take to get him that bothers me. It's the $50 million that's being referenced. The only way the Steelers would have a chance to win if they bring in Rodgers, it has to be quick, right? It's got to be a quick fix, a short-term thing. The only way you can do that is through free agency. So if you get him in a trade, if you still have some money to play with and can bring in maybe a lineman or two, because all these draft picks are great, but that's not going to help you win in the next year or so anyway. And you have to win quickly if you bring him in. So if he's not making as much money and you still have some money to play with in free agency, maybe you get a lineman or two. All of a sudden, yeah, you might have something, because I would disagree with Mark a little bit. I think Aaron Rodgers is, still one of the great players in the game. Ben Roethlisberger in his final 2 years clearly was not. I do think he would make a difference, but if he's going to be taking up that much of the salary cap, this team's not good enough to win if that's going to be the case.
All right. I got to ask you this now, Mark, just because we're moving
How do
right
you
along.
think Aaron Rodgers is going to like it when he gets knocked around by that offensive line constantly?
Well, and you won't be able to address it if you're going to spend money like that. Anyway, I want to ask you about Plan B. If that doesn't work, and I assume that's one of their plans or somebody's plan, but if it doesn't, free agency, there are a lot of names out there. Which makes the most sense, and do you still think Mason Rudolph will be the guy in charge to win that starting job, regardless of who they bring in, or the person they bring in takes over that responsibility?
I think it's pretty much a no doubt in my mind right now. Mason Rudolph is your guy. I know, okay, he's the only guy on the roster and whatnot, but I don't see anything to change my mind in the combine. Just because Malik Willis can throw the ball 70 yards down the field, great. What is that going to do you next year? And what's that, one play a game? I don't think that Desmond Ridder might not be ready for anything like that. You go out on the free agency market and you're just getting, an equal to lesser or maybe a little bit better than what you have in Mason Rudolph right now. I just don't see anything lining up for them to be able to get anything better right now. That's why you build around offensive line, defensive line. You maybe get a safety, you get a cornerback, you get ready for that potential franchise quarterback. If it is next year, you can go out and find it somehow, some way, or move on from there. I'm still a big Mason fan because I don't think Mason has been given that much of a shot. 8 of his 10 starts have came in his second year when he was less than a rookie. I mean, the guy's never practiced. He never got on the field, never got a helmet. Then they said 6 quarters in, this is your job, Mason. I don't think he got a fair shot. I'm more than willing to give him a fair shot for a year while you build everything else around him. That's the way I think.
Real quick around the horn, Andrew, then Josh.
Well, that would be punting on 2022, and I just don't think the Steelers organization looks at things that way. It was reported this week that Colbert feels like it's part of his obligation to set the team up with a franchise quarterback. That's not coming back with Mason Rudolph. Mitch Trubisky, Bob, for $20 million a year, you got to get off that moving train, right? I mean, you can't. Speaking of reports, will you say now that that's too expensive for Bob Pompeani, Spanish blood? $20 million a year?
No,
for Mitchell Trubisky?
I would spend $20 million if I found a guy I thought who'd be worth it. I would right now.
I'm asking you if you think Trubisky's that guy, Bob.
I think Trubisky, I'd like to have him. I've said it all along. I'm not going to switch my mind on this.
Mark,
I think
you hear this man? You think I'm crazy? $20 million a year for Mitch Trubisky, Mark?
Andrew, they're going to bring in somebody. It's not going to be just an arm.
You get another $6 million. You get Aaron Rodgers. So go for that.
I know, Bob. What are you doing here?
That's the point. Is the jump between Mitch Trubisky to Aaron Rodgers. That's no small thing. I don't think a lot of these free agents we're talking about, the Teddy Bridgewaters of the world, I don't know how much better they are than Mason Rudolph. I don't think it's worth the money that would cost to bring them in when you could start rebuilding your offensive line or start adding to your defense, which is not nearly as good as a lot of people around the NFL seem to think. So I'm big, go big or go home for me at quarterbacks. If you got your guy in the first round that you want, fine. If you want to bring in Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, if you think that's possible, fine.
Well,
some average quarterback. That's what Mason Rudolph is.
We got to go to a break here. That's not Russia. I'm sorry about that. We're gonna come back and talk about hand size and whether or not that's something to be worried about. That's next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.